how scary is a healthy and motivated Chiefs team?
I think they've always been scary. You can never really count them out. I just think it's one of those times where other people within the division are getting better. And at some point, you got to stop winning. You just have to stop winning and going to the Super Bowl. Everybody does. And this might be the year for them where all of a sudden they just stop. I mean, they don't win the division. They make it to the playoffs. Maybe they win a round or two, and then that's pretty much it. They won't be hosting the AFC Championship game, and then we'll be talking about somebody else coming out of the AFC.
So it's over?
No, it's not over. It's just slowing down, and they got to pick it back up. That's all I'm saying, because Baltimore's going to get better. We see Cincinnati, what they did money-wise. Buffalo certainly is better. The Chargers are better with a second-year head coach. Denver's better with a second-year head coach. I mean, it's just teams are going to get better in the AFC. And Rashee Rice, is clearly in a much better, healthier space because he's talking. So that tells me he knows that he's going to be on the field come September for them. They got some players. They got some guys over there, but I just feel like this is going to be one of those 12-5 type seasons that they missed the Super Bowl and everybody goes, oh, the dynasty's over. That's what I feel. But I could be wrong.
Demise for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, God.
Ken, you said teams are getting better, right?
Yeah, teams are getting better.
But did the Chiefs get better?
I don't know.
They got better from within. Think about it. They were injured.
know.
They were injured most of the year.
No, they had a couple players injured.
Pacheco was out, pretty much. You lost Rashee Rice.
Rashee was out.
Rashee was out.
You know, those are some pretty key pieces.
He was on his way to becoming a young star at the receiver position.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what's going to happen with the whole ACL situation, how healthy or how comfortable he'll be when he steps on the field, because it's all mental.
But this is a team that was carried by its defense week in and week out, right? For the most part. Now you're saying, oh, we got our offensive weapons back, and we went, 15-2? I wouldn't be shocked if the Chiefs go undefeated.
I bet you wouldn't.
Wow.
I bet you wouldn't walk from home on that one.
I wouldn't be. I mean, they were 10-0 with all the injuries. I forget where they lost their first game, but I remember they was at 10-0 around there before they first lost. So I'm confident in the Chiefs, a motivated Chiefs. I mean, obviously, look at Travis Kelce lost how many pounds?
25 pounds.
25?
Yeah.
That must have meant he was massively overweight playing. Like, come on, who has to lose 25 pounds in the offseason?
He probably just didn't have great, he probably had that hangout chitlin circuits pounds on him.
25 pounds from a year ago?
Yeah, but that might be,
It also might be him just slimming down because he's getting older, and it's easier to move around when you have a little less weight on you.
I can't think of a sports player, any sport. That's massive transformation. Like, so that's massive to have to go on.
25?
25 is a lot.
Tyler, so he probably plays at 265?
So went down to 240.
Tyler, check that out. I think I was just off the top of my head,
adjustment. The most weight I've ever had to lose in the offseason was like 7-8 pounds. Like the most. Like never over 10.
I feel like there was a period in the NBA where there were a lot of centers that were suddenly slimming down because the game got so much faster. Like an Alonzo Mourning dropped weight. Tim Duncan dropped weight.
But it wasn't like they wasn't heavy.
No, I would say it was probably 10, 15 pounds.
So he's listed at about 6'4", 250 right now.
Yeah.
So
225 scary. Like that would be skinny for
I wonder if that 250 is now opposed to. Did they change it? Is that his original weight is 250 and he went down to 220? Because 225, that ain't him. No, that ain't him. He can't play the position.
But they keep your weight from your rookie year.
They do in the NBA media guides.
You know what I'm saying? So he probably was 265.
I bet you he's a 265.
Yeah, for sure.
How many older athletes have we heard though that they're slimming down? Like the ones that are starting to fade. And I got lighter. I got better. I'm going to get faster.
I don't know. I don't know that him slimming down was because he needed to get faster and all those things. I think he just was preoccupied with a lot of things in his life his personal life, seriously,
Okay.
in his personal life with his public relationship and all of the fun that has been going on over the last year and a half. And he's probably realized, I got to get back to my routine. I can't do this anymore because he's still good. He's still hella good. But what happens is a narrative, you look at the statistics and you look at certain things that he does on the field and you go, oh, well, he's not the same player anymore.
How old is he?
He's 36. I don't think he's 36. I think he's 34. I think he's a 34-year-old.
All right.
I think he's 34. 35
But he looked
now.
heavy to
He's
me
35
last
years
year.
old.
He looked heavy.
Do you think that they are scary? Healthy, motivated Chiefs?
Scary, not scary. I don't think they're going to fall off. I think they'll still be good, and I think that
12-5 is good. That's not a fall off.
That's what I mean. I think they'll still be competitive, but I don't see them as scary. The 15-2, man, there were a lot of games they eked out. I don't think they were like a dominant 15-2
They blocked the
team.
field goal against Denver that they should have lost that game.
Not a dominant 15-2.
No,
That's crazy.
they didn't
That's
feel
crazy.
dominant to me.
15-2.
They won a lot of games.
That's dominant.
No, that's not. Your record's not always a reflection of how dominant you
15
are.
wins is not dominant.
That's
not dominant.
The Lions had a great record, great season. Were they dominant once they get to the playoffs?
Lions was dominant.
I think they won a
Lions
lot
was
of,
dominant.
I think they won a lot of games in spite of being injured. The other part that I don't get with Rashee Rice, and I'll hand it over to my wide receiving expert, like, does their receiving core like blow you away when you look around the league?
Well, they're different. They're different than
Young
the
and fast.
two-headed monsters that we see in Cincinnati, we see in Philadelphia, or now in Dallas. They're just different. Rashee Rice was getting ready to become one of those, but what happened is ACL. But you pair him along with Travis Kelce.
Okay, so
and then you get Worthy as the guy who lifts the coverage and takes everything off the top. So you got a deep, intermediate, and a short passing game that you could expose defenses with.
So you're counting on Travis Kelce getting back to the Travis Kelce of old.
Yeah, I just told you. Think about this. All of a sudden, this new world comes to you.
Yeah.
And you stop your certain routines and think, now
I get that.
Scrub that clean.
I get that.
I think he becomes Travis Kelce of 5. He becomes a Travis Kelce of 22.
If he was 29, 30, I would agree with you. At this point, the idea that he's going to turn back the clock, when we've seen this gradual movement in this direction, I'm not buying it.
But his issues, Rick, his issues aren't playing on the field and being able to do the things that he's capable of doing from a football acclimated standpoint. His issues is, I'm done with the game, I'm getting ready to get on this private jet, and I don't have to be back till Tuesday, and I'm getting ready to go to a concert over in Australia, but I'll be back. That's his issue.
Did he break up with Taylor?
No, but you can
so
self-check.
what's changing?
Because you can self-check yourself. You can self-check yourself and realize, I got to get back to me.
Okay.
Yeah, but she's not on tour anymore.
And she, there you go, Joy. He ain't performing in the tour. He ain't on stage.
So we're not going to have any of that distraction.
The Chiefs are the current dynasty, so they should be scary every single year until someone knocks them off. They're still the team to beat in the AFC. They were in the Super Bowl last year. We love to predict these fall-offs, and maybe they won't be 15-2, but until someone takes them down, that's who they are.
I'm just looking at the other teams, but I understand.
We've been talking about those other teams for years and years, and they've yet, other than the Bengals, they've yet to knock them out.
I wouldn't be shocked if they was in San Francisco.
Oklahoma City showed it was their time.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, stop it though.
Who's next?
I can feel it coming.
Who? Buffalo?
I mean, there are teams who could be next that would make sense.
Yeah.
Buffalo would make sense.
Ravens.
Cincinnati would make sense. The Ravens would make sense. The Texans would make sense.
Yep.
There's a few teams.
There's a few teams.
The Chargers would make sense.
But if they got to go through Kansas City,
Chargers got.
it's not going to happen.
Bengals have already done it.
They gotta go.
Good. Lad McConkey's good.
Arrowhead doesn't.
It's like a personal attack
Arrowhead
on
what?
Lad.
Arrowhead doesn't
I
scare the
say
Bengals.
anything about the Chargers.
Arrowhead scares everybody.
Where are we on booking Lad McConkey for the show?
I don't know. Don't ask me. I'm not the booker.
So, Paul, can the Niners maintain a winning culture after all those offseason departures?
Yeah, absolutely. You still got a lot of key pieces in place, and I think the culture starts with the 49ers, with their coach. You still got Purdy. You still got some Trent. You still got big Trent. Now, I think the biggest loss is probably going to be Debo, because like just seeing him every Sunday, just in that tunnel, boombox and all, just like that creates the culture too. But it's up to the guys who've been there that's coming back to say, hey, ain't nothing changed. They still have the talent. You still got Kittles. You still got McCaffrey. You still got major key pieces on this team that still is like, hey, we just reloaded. Ain't nothing changed, fellas. The goal is still the same. It ain't just because we lost a few key guys that weren't as productive as they used to be for the franchise. Like, we got other guys that's going to be productive. Ayuk is coming back off an injury. So I truly believe that the culture is still there. I truly believe they got the talent to make some noise. I wouldn't count the 49ers out at all.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to, first of all, as you said, they have all the key pieces. I also I can't help but look at their schedule. Is coming out. Seattle, okay, a little bit of a test. New Orleans, Arizona, Jacksonville. Like, you have the opportunity to get out of the gate strong, which, with all the injuries last year, that was the big issue that they faced. So I look at the division, a lot of questions in terms of just exactly how formidable the NFC West is going to be. Some changes there. So they're going to be in the mix. And they kept all the pieces. A lot of this is going to depend on how well their draft class works, right? That's where they went to replace some of the injured pieces that I think the names were bigger than the game at this point.
Yep.
But Fred Warner still being there. All the leadership that I need for this team is still in place.
Yeah, everybody for the most part from a leadership standpoint is in place. And Paul mentioned it in terms of the guy that they may miss the most is probably just a Debo.
Yeah.
Debo Samuel, because
who had kind of fallen off last year, right?
Yeah, but because he helped build a little bit of culture that they have.
Yeah.
Although John Lynch is there and Shanahan, who are the architects of that culture, right? Because they know who belongs in the locker room, who doesn't belong in the locker room. But you still got Christian McCaffrey. You still got Ayuk. You still got Fred Warner. You still got Brock Purdy and Kittle and Trent Williams. So you still got Bosa and company. They still there. And I love when people say that the losses for the 49ers. The real loss is Debo Samuel. Yeah. Because when you look at the other players like Elijah Mitchell and Jalen Moore and Aaron Banks, they're guys.
Yeah.
But they're not the frontline guys, right? Ufanga was a frontline guy, but often injured, right? Greenlaw was a frontline guy, but often injured.
Yeah.
They had planned on moving on from them. Okay, so even when you look at Leonard Floyd was not an original San Francisco 49er as part of that culture. He was basically, as you like to say, Paul, a rental for them at the outside linebacker defensive end position that fit for what they wanted to do. But in the end, they decided to move on from him because he didn't give them enough.
Right.
So they didn't lose the type of pieces that we think. They lost some numbers, but they replaced those numbers in free agency and through the draft. I don't think they're going to fall off at all. I think the coach is still there, and their window for the Super Bowl is still wide open.
I think that they are definitely still in Super Bowl contention. They're still going to be competitive. They're just going to look and feel differently than they have over the past couple of years. They have had 27 wins of 17 or more points since 2019. They've been dominant. Most NFL games are not decided by that many points. A blowout is actually a rare thing. That's what they were. They just ran all over teams, completely tore apart their prey. They felt very aggressive. They felt like, what's the saying? Like after a hard game, like this is it's an ice bath game or something.
Similar.
Like that's not the saying, but you know what I mean. Like you're gonna be doing a little extra
in the tub.
in the recovery after you play the Niners. Like that's what those games looked and felt like, and they blew.
Black and blue.
There you go. They blew teams out. I don't think they will look or feel like that. I think Debo was a big part of that, a big part of the culture of that. To your point, Key, about some of these players that they're missing now, like a Jalen Moore missed 22 games in 4 seasons. Hargrave missed 18 games in 2 seasons. Greenlaw missed 36 games in 6 seasons. Hufanga missed 24 games in 4 seasons. So they did miss a lot of time. But all those guys also played a role when they were available in that smash mouth aggressive style of play that the Niners
Maybe that's why they was injured.
are known for. Probably. The Niners do have a very high level of amount of injuries to their starters. Like they're at the top of the league with that because of their style of play. So I think they're still going to be competitive and they still have their core there. I just think they're going to look and feel a little bit different than they have over the years.
They got a pretty good schedule, pretty easy schedule.
Yeah,
God.
Especially compared to the Chiefs.
They can go 5-0 or 4-1 before they see before they see Tampa Bay. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I meant.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.